Man, it's been so long since I've done one of these. Hey everybody, Chicken Wings here. I just wanted to do like a quick collection update, and as of right now, there's just so much more stuff that I got in since the last time I did one of these. Like, my NES collection has slimmed down a substantial amount because I needed inventory and money at the same time, so I just had to get rid of a lot of stuff, and a lot of junk already sold, to say the least, so without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started with what I've got, so here we go. Okay, world of Nintendo stuff. Not the toys. I would like to get the action figures, but for right now, I don't really have enough space to put stuff like that out. But what I do have to show is the more notable stuff that I got recently, and new stuff that came out as well. Stuff that I had already reserved for myself to get. But we're going to go ahead and cover all of that right now, and one of the things that I wanted to cover over is GameCube. And I don't really have much of a list anymore for GameCube stuff because I've already got everything that I've wanted to get, except for maybe one game, but that's a little bit too expensive for my taste. But the ones that I did get, I probably think will be the last ones that I want. But I have the Metal Gear Solid Legacy Collection, which came out for the PS3. And this, however, is exclusive to Nintendo. And for those that do know, this is like the best version of Metal Gear Solid for like any system whatsoever. But what I got, it was a trade-in, along with one of the other games, which I'll show in a bit. But I finally was able to get a complete copy of Twin Snakes. And it is complete. And all the discs, they're in good condition, and no scratches whatsoever. The guy kept his stuff in really good shape. I think it's just the case feels a little dirty, but I mean, that's normal for cases like these, because they weren't really built for quality, to say the least. But it was that and another game that he brought in, and honestly, this was like one of those games that I didn't expect to get soon, especially after opening up the store, but this was one of my more sought-after games I wanted to get in recent memory. And honestly, I love this series, the franchise, or whatever you want to call it. Just, all the games are fun. I'm currently playing one of them on the DS right now, and finally able to get a complete copy of Fire Emblem for the GameCube. And the only downside is that, well, not downside, but the only thing missing is, like, the health hazard little slips that you usually have right behind the manual, but other than that, it's complete, and that's all that matters. Okay, on to Wii. Wii and Wii U both, I've actually been getting some stuff for, because I've really come to enjoy the system a lot more, both, to say the least. And these next 4 games are proof that the Wii had good stuff. Well, the next 2, to say the least. But one of these games I got at a local convention for people like myself, and that is the Geek Gathering, and it happened last month, and the turnout was close to around 2,500 people, which is not a big number, but I mean, it's still good for being a small local convention that's around here that doesn't really do much of anything like that. But at Replay's booth, they actually had a game over there for way below retail value, and they also had a copy of Digimon World 1 for $10. Go figure, I guess. But the game that they actually had for sale for retail, or below retail, excuse me, was one that I wanted to get, and it's one of the last few Wii games I wanted, but it's a copy of Xenoblade Chronicles for $40. That is, like, anybody knows about the price on that game right now knows exactly how good of a deal that is. And also, I got a case and manual lot recently off of eBay, and it was like a mixture of DS, 3DS, some bit of PSP, PlayStation 3, and Wii. There's one reason why I got the lot in the first place, and it was because of this game right here. There was a game that I got at a yard sale for $2, and it was loose. And it was, I want to call it loose because it was in a GameStop case, which I really hate those, and it didn't have the manual for it either, so that kind of got me mad a little bit. But there was this in that case lot, and Honestly, I paid way, way cheaper for this than how much it would be just by itself. So, now that I have this game complete, I finally can say that I have a complete copy of Fire Emblem on the Wii. And, as you can see, it has the manual, and then it has the little insert thing that they have right behind it. And it's one of my favorite Wii titles for the console. I would probably say that about Xenoblade Chronicles after I get done playing that. Which I do need to do that before Xenoblade Chronicles X comes out, which I did pre-order the special edition. I may do an unboxing of that. And of course Wii U, I won't go over, like, a lot of this for too much time, to say the least. But one of the games I had reserved that everybody and their mother's playing on the Wii U right now is Mario Maker, and a lot of popular YouTubers are doing video Let's Plays and stuff like this on there, and the fact that there's so many sadistic levels up there, including mine, if you haven't played Mega Mario, copy this link. You will not be disappointed. It's got a 1.5% completion rate, and it's only about 5 out of 300 or so people. It's pretty tough. It took me about 2 hours to try to actually beat it, because I wanted this thing to be hard. So if there's people beating it, I might have to be a lot worse on it. So who knows, I'll have to work on that later. A buddy of mine, Sean, found 2 copies of this one game, and this was another one that I've been looking for. I played it on the Wii U as a digital download when they did their promo for Mario Kart 8, because they were trying to push sales for the Wii U, since numbers were very, very low. But one of the games was Pikmin 3, and I really enjoyed it. It was like, actually, it still is one of my favorite exclusives for the system. But he found 2 copies of it at GameStop over in Florence, and I brought in a couple of games that I couldn't really sell at my store because, number one, certain niche titles for 360 do not sell. But after I saw how much trade credit they were offering for them, I couldn't pass up and was able to get this for around 30 bucks. This is a lot cheaper than what this game goes for. I think it's like 70 right now, and I don't know if they're reprinting stuff now, but apparently Xenoblade Chronicles got restocked at a wholesaler that I'm with, so who knows? Stuff may be actually coming out as reprints again, so world may never know. Okay, 3DS. I've got a couple of things that I could bring out, but I mean, there's just too much to list. But what I do have, however, is stuff that I recently picked up, and one of them that I've been recently almost finishing. It's not a very long game, but it's actually one of the best platformers on the system. But Chibi Robo Ziplash is really, really fun. And I was considering maybe taking the amiibo out. It's very, very nice in articulation for it. But I don't have the 3DS that lets you do that type of feature, so until I do, I'm just going to keep them sealed. But honestly, I made the comparison, the fact that this plays kind of like a Castlevania game, because you're upgrading your whip, and you're able to latch onto ledges, and then you basically have like different attacks and stuff like that, and there's like a lot of replay value. Well, not too much replay value, but there's still replay value in the game to where you get like collection items and stuff like that in here, so it's really, really fun. It's like 30 bucks for just the game by itself right now, and I think they may have some amiibo versions left, so it's about 40 bucks for the amiibo version. And then another game that has recently gotten a lot of flack for being okay. From what I've played, it's not as bad as I thought it would be, but it is on the lines of a Saga game from what my buddy Joe actually told me about. But I did barely get the pre-order copy for Legend of Legacy. This box is freaking huge. It's got like a rectangular art book and a soundtrack, and the music on this game is really, really fantastic. But if I had to make a comparison, like the art style for this, like if you can tell, the design looks very similar to another really good 3DS game, which is Bravely Default. Continuing on with handhelds, I do have some Game Boy Advance and DS stuff that I recently got, but I'm not going to cover over it because, again, it's too much since the last time we were talking about what I got last time. But I've been playing the Vita a lot recently, and I hate to say it, it's not getting much love as it should be, because there's a lot of good games for it that's out right now. And one of them I got, and it was like brand new for 30 bucks. And I've not seen this game anywhere for some reason, but I love the Tales of series so much, and I really had to get my hands on Tales of Hearts R. And it's still the same gameplay style. It kind of gets some taken used to use the D-pad and the thumbstick, but I mainly just use the thumbstick anyway, so using the D-pad doesn't really suit my taste as much. But overall, I mean, it's the same Tales games that you come to expect to love, and it's recommended. Like 30 bucks for a new copy is really, really good for something like that. And since I love fighting games, my buddy Joe, again, and I'll probably talk about this next one in a second, he told me about this game when we were over at Comic-Con. I was over there this past February, and this game was on display, and it was an import, and they were bringing it over to the States, and it was going to come out as a $30 title, I think, when it was shown online, but I think the price kind of changed since then. But I was able to get both the PS3 and the Vita version for Fighting Climax, and this has, like, so many different video game characters, or not video game characters, anime characters from separate series. Like, there's Shakagana no Shana, there's, what was that other one? It's the game with, like, weapons and stuff. I'm not even speaking words now. And then there's, like, Excel World. And honestly, I would probably compare it to maybe, like, a Blaze Blue, which this plays almost very similar to it. And it's really easy to pick up and play. Some of the combos are a little odd, but overall, like, the artwork on it, like the cell shading and stuff like that, is really, really good. And then another game, I like survival horror. Joe, again, he actually recommended this game to me, and I couldn't really pass it up, and I had store credit left up, and I was able to get the collector's edition for, sorry, Corpse Party. I cannot pronounce names good enough. Blood Drive. Can't speak. But, the game itself is a survival horror RPG, and it's very eerie, like, really, really eerie, and it's... Honestly, from what Joe told me, it's better to wear with headphones, because you get that shock value a lot more. But it's graphically really, really good, and honestly, you're doing a lot of looking around on this game. And the game that this came out in comes with this, like, Necronomicon type of art book, and then it has, like, a double CD soundtrack. So, from what he's told me, it's a very obscure series for the Vita and any of the other systems that came out for PlayStation. And it's honestly recommended. So from what I've played so far, it's really, really good. So definitely get it. And it's Halloween almost, so that's perfect timing, right? Speaking of Halloween, Gargoyles. Definitely something that a lot of people like to watch as a kid, especially me, since Disney, a lot of stuff back then was, like, really, really good shows. And we do get some good stuff nowadays, but there's just a lot of good stuff for memories back then. But one of the games that I recently got, well, it's only the box and manual, but I had the game loose for a while. Gargoyles is really, really good for the Genesis, and a buddy of mine who owns Classic Game Vault over in the Decatur Mall, and he's going to be moving his other original location from the Madison Square Mall that's up in Huntsville, and he's moving to a different location, and I'm not really sure where he's going to. But he gave me a really good deal on a now complete copy of Gargoyles for Genesis, and he gave me the box and manual for about 20 bucks, which that's still a very, very good deal, considering complete for this game usually goes for around 50 or so. So this is still, honestly, one of the best exclusives for the Genesis if you've not played it yet. Going back to Joe, this was one thing that he surprised me with, because he offered me this for 10 bucks. And one of my favorite Tales games is Tales of Xillia. I would love to get the collector's editions, and I was this close to getting two as the collector's edition, but unfortunately GameStop had no more in stock. So I'm going to have to resort to eBay, which it's like under $100 just for a new sealed version of the game. So I'm not going to complain. But for 10 bucks, until I get the collector's edition, he actually gave me the box and I think the booklet for the limited edition for Tales of Xillia. I don't usually see this one too often online, and offline for that matter. I don't know if this was just not picked up by everybody, but honestly, for one of my favorite games on the PS3, one of the best exclusives, I mean, I'm not going to complain, and I'll probably get rid of this after I get the collector's editions for both games. And my Tales obsession continues. This is about, as far as I know, the only exclusive Xbox 360 Tales game. But from what I've heard, it's like one of the best ones that are out there. Tales of Vesperia, it was over at GameStop, and I couldn't really find anywhere else, so it was like, had some credit on my account, and I got it for 20 bucks. And the last two games that I want to show, these are about the only cartridge ones that I'm gonna just showcase off. And these are honestly some of the more harder to find N64 and Super Nintendo games. But the first one I wanted to get, it's about the only RPG simulator, as far as we know, unless there's like a prototype that's out there that hasn't been shown yet. But in the lot of stuff that I got was from a collector, and he was just needing money. But one of those other games that was sold to the store is the very elusive and hard to find Ogre Battle 64, and I will probably get to this at one point after I get caught up on a lot of games, but this was one of the few Atlas games that I wanted to get, and I know that this also came out for Super Nintendo. I may get that one day, but for right now, I've got the much cheaper brother of the two. And of course, the last one. This is a game by Sunsoft. This did come out on Genesis, and for some reason, this game has really gone up in price. I remember when this thing used to be about like $30, but this thing nowadays goes for about $80. I have no understanding why, but I actually have a copy of Zero Kamikaze Squirrel. This is one of the most weirdest games on the console, and it's got really good music, really great graphics for being a 16-bit game. And this is a hidden gem. You just play as a ninja squirrel throwing ninja stars at very bizarre random enemies. It's just too weird to even describe, but it's very smooth platforming for those that have not played it. But if you can find this at all for a cheap price, like even go as far to find like a $5 copy if you can find that anywhere, it's really good. I wouldn't really say it's worth $80. I mean, maybe around 10 or 15 bucks. But for some reason, it is, and it was like one of the last few Sunsoft games that came out. So that's it for the collection update. I'm pretty much tired. I could have shown everything I have, but it would have been like hundreds of games, because I've gotten stuff for handhelds, stuff for home consoles. It's just too much to list off. But in any case, guys, I do thank you very much for watching this video. If you have not done so right now, please go watch the interviews. That's my new series that I'm doing. It's Select Screen, and I've already done Scott Squatch and 8-Bit Eric, and I do appreciate them very much for dropping by to do the first two episodes. And I'm currently working on the third one, and you'll have to find out on the next episode when I do upload it. So anyways, I'm tired. I'm going to go ahead and upload this video, so I will talk to you guys next time. So I'll see you on the next collection update.